Miles Freed, Building Dreams Construction. You dream it, we build it. We're out here in Portage, Michigan at East Shore Drive at our spec house today. And I'm going to take you through two different topics today. One, I'm going to walk you through some of the insulation that we're doing in the foundation and give you an update on the project itself. And then we're also going to talk for a brief moment on how COVID's affecting the build process right now. So let's get started with the first one here. We're standing in our lower level, our basement here. This is a bi-level house. This is a superior wall, 9-foot lower level. And as you can see, we got bad insulation that we have filled in these cavities here. So typically speaking, if you're going to be burying this foundation system in kind of more of your normal foundation setting where you're not doing daylight, you're not doing a walkout like this, you wouldn't need to actually fill these gaps. And really what the code is saying is anything above grade needs a higher R value than the R12 that's embedded in these walls. But one of the reasons why we're using batt insulation as to perhaps some of the other insulation options, really after speaking with our insulator, you kind of have three options. You can go with the spray foam, you can go with the cellulose, or you can go with the batt insulation. And I asked our insulator, could we go with the cellulose blown in? And what he told me is because these are a little bit larger than 16-inch on center gaps here, it's just a little bit too wide and it's too much space for that cellulose to stick in there, and you're gonna have a lot of it fall out and you're gonna have settling over time. So cellulose isn't a good option. The next option is spray in foam, which is your best option in terms of your R value, but gets really expensive really fast. Cellulose is, or excuse me, foam gets really expensive really fast. And then that really leaves one last option, which is batt insulation. Batt insulation is one of your most budget-friendly options. We don't use batt insulation almost in any particular situation other than this one here. There's a few outlying situations where we will use batt insulation. And the reason we're using it here and we don't use it in some other situations is with this superior wall having the foam embedded right into the concrete and taking your thermal break from the inside of the house to inside that wall and outside of the house, what it's allowing is, let's backtrack real quick. If you were to have a poured wall, you have your poured wall, and then let's say you're putting your batt insulation up on that foundation system, there's going to be an air gap in between that batt insulation and the foundation. And what's going to happen is your heat from the inside is going to touch that cold concrete, and you're going to get condensation. You're going to get dew in there, and that's going to lead to mold, and also that water is going to get into the batt insulation, and you're going to have sagging. Well, kind of coming back to the superior wall situation is that foam's embedded right into the wall. So you don't have that thermal break. You don't have that moisture building up on the inside of the wall that would ultimately get into the batt insulation and cause mold issues. So that's why we're using the batt down here. It's to give us the additional R value for above grade. And it's not going to have the issues you'd normally have in your normal foundation settings.
So I believe that we have like an R31 now on this because they just did an R19,
yeah.
R12. Right?
So we're having somewhere around an R31. I don't know if you could hear because the mic's on me and it's my dad's behind the camera here a little bit. But so we have a really high R value in this foundation instead of what the standard R12-ish would be. It's like 12.5 or something like that. And kind of, what were you saying?
Let's go upstairs and talk about that cellulose.
Yeah, let's go upstairs and talk about the other insulation package in this house. So the basement here is the superior wall, and we have the batt insulation. And then we come upstairs to more of our normal installation method here. So this is entirely blown cellulose into the walls here. Our rim joist is still foamed, so all of our real important areas are still sealed up. The rim is one of the easiest places to lose insulation value and have air come through. So you can see they blow this in here and then they scrape it down so you have a nice smooth finish. There's actually a bit of glue that goes into this product too so that it stays flat and it doesn't settle that much either. You can see they go through on some of the areas where you have really bad air infiltration and they'll caulk it. Between your 2x4s or 2x6s on this exterior wall at the point where the floor meets the wall, and just really all these different areas. And what that's going to do is it's going to stop your air infiltration from seeping through these gaps, which eventually does get tested through a blower door test, bringing your blower door number down. You got to be under 4 air exchanges per hour. on your blower door. And we've been ranging somewhere around, I'd say about 1.6 to 2, which is pretty dang good in my humble opinion. There are methods to go quite a bit higher than that, but we're not going to talk about that today. So that really is how the foundation insulation system works in this main level. And then once we get the drywall lid on, we'll blow cellulose into that area too. So that kind of wraps up the first portion of what I wanted to talk about. I'll end that with saying that we have the insulation in here now, and we'll be moving into drywall phase, but it kind of segues me into the second part of this conversation, and that's building during COVID. And really what we're seeing, the issue right now is building during COVID. There's a little bit of a labor issue, but really it's mostly materials. So as you can see here, I've got plastic up on this window where there really should be a window in here. And I should have this envelope closed, but there's a few products that are really long lead times right now, windows being one of them. Window lead time right now is probably somewhere between 2 to 3 months. Exterior doors, depending on where you're getting your exterior door from, can be very similar, 2 to 3 months. Garage doors can be a lot. Cabinets, depending on where you're getting your cabinets from, they're nightmarish. You know, cabinets hold up a whole lot of different things. You got to template a countertop, you got to get your countertop installed, then you got to get your backsplash installed, and then you have obviously your finished fixtures and things going on that. So if you can't get your cabinets on time, it really, really gums up the system. And what I've been seeing is sometimes you'll get your cabinets from the manufacturer and you'll think you're getting your whole package when some of it's actually back ordered in that package, and they don't tell you. You just get it and then you find out you don't have everything that you need. So it's really, really causing issues, and it's a little bit hit and miss on what you can get and what you can't get. I think generator disconnect switches are almost impossible to get. There just happens to be a lot of things that you can get, but then there ends up being these critical items that you just can't get, and they seem to have this 2 to 3 month lead time. So we're a process builder. We like building within a process. We like having tight timelines. So that way our subs know what to expect from us. We know what to expect from our subs. But the material delays and the material shortages are no question wreaking havoc and causing large issues with the actual construction process and getting these homes wrapped up. So looking forward, as we go through this year, we hope that it gets better, but ultimately it's probably not going to get better for another year or so. We have quite a long period of time. We're making shifts where we can in order to bring in materials in a timely manner, but sometimes you just kind of have to do what you got to do and go with the materials that are there. So we're working through them the best that we can, but I wanted to stress that point because I've talked on some of these videos, and I have talked a little bit about how COVID's causing issues in terms of delays of material. I wanted to kind of come back to this point so that you can kind of see where we're at this point in time, which we're 18th of November right now of 2021, so for reference. Anyway, let me digress a little bit and bring this video to a close. This is our spec home on East Shore Drive. This is a very similar rendition to the one that we did in Richland, Michigan. This is just a larger home, and you can feel how much larger it is in here. That home that we finished out there in Richland, the actual finish was gorgeous. So I can't wait to see this home finish with a extra space and a few simple little tweaks just to make that home that was out there that much better. And this thing, I would assume, best guess here right now, we'll probably have this on the market somewhere around 3 months from now. So it's November now. We'd be talking about December, January, sometime at the end of February, beginning of March, looking for this house to go online for sale in the Portage area. We're just south of Austin Lake. That's all for today. Thank you so much for lasting through this entire video. I'm Miles Freed with Building Dreams Construction. You dream it, we build it. Thank you.